Module 169. This module is related with transnational corporation in the world of foreign state. Here we are going to discuss about the pool of low-cost labor. How transnational corporations, they are attracted by the labor-abundant developing countries where the wages are quite low and the labor was available abundantly. So that resource was to an extent virtually you can say unlimited with the point of view of transnational corporation. Therefore, they move towards third world countries. So the core state-based transnational corporation attracted by low-cost manufacturing labor in third world, and it has one plus point, some plus point and some negative. But I just mentioned one important plus point and one important negative point for this. Plus point is that newly industrialized corporations, they have more productive capacity, and which has significantly extended due to this transnational corporation investment, including these transnational corporations came from Europe, Japan, United States corporations, their transnational corporation, and they established global production system. So ultimately, these newly industrialized economies or countries were successfully enjoy the benefit of these foreign direct investment made by transnational corporation in these countries, and they improve or enhance their productive capacities as well as their growth process. But the negative point is that it remains location specific, and the outcome of this location specific ultimately was that the competitive advantages profited transnational corporations rather least developing countries. So whatever benefit of that abundant labor or abundant resource the developing countries can enjoy, they could not do that because transnational corporations are successfully utilize that kind of technology which use that abundant labor more and produce more surplus output, and they sold that across the world in different kind of market, and they are successfully get the maximum benefit, or they exploit that particular source at maximum to improve their profit margin. On the other side, these developing countries, they definitely enjoy to an extent the productive capacity, but definitely that productive capacity was not as such available to the domestic industry. However, it has happened over the time, because over the time technology is going to become more public good. Therefore, to an extent that can be replicated by the domestic industries, but in most of the developing countries that was not observed whatever may be expected in this scenario. Secondly, growth escalated specifically in 10 nations, including Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, Brazil, Mexico, and that has happened due to the three decisive developments which has actually induced the transnational corporation in that particular regions. Number one, the virtually unlimited disposable labor reserves in least developing countries which were available, which is not going to be exhausted, and cheap compared to the core nations due to the additional social wage. Actually, in developed countries or core nations, transnational corporations have to pay more wages as compared to market wage, because social aspect is going to be incorporated into that wage. So their labor unions are successful to increase or improve their wages to compensate the social cost of the work. Therefore, social component of wage actually leads to increase the level of wages in core nations, and that was not available in case of developing countries or developing nations. Secondly, division and subdivision of production processes, because production process was possible to be divided into different subgroups, and therefore you can do different kind of production processes in different areas, in different locations and different countries. So fragmented operations that were possible and that required minimum level of skills easily learnable in the short time. So developing countries which don't have huge knowledge or a good base of knowledge, and they are incapacitated to learn more complicated or complex technologies, once the whole productive process is segmented into different components, so each component become easy in terms of use of techniques and technologies and the knowledge. Therefore, that can be learned easily by the labor or by the entrepreneur of that particular area. Therefore, it is possible to perform in these particular areas. Third important phenomena was the transportation and telecommunication development and revolution that has happened in 1960s, and that actually allowed intercontinental freight, intercontinental exchange of goods more easily and more cheaply. Containerized shipping was another aspect which have evolved in the during that time period. Air freight jets, which have been there to save more time. Satellite telecom allowed more control and in terms of any kind of foresee any kind of risk. So the transnational corporation became more efficient in terms of integration of production units which were scattered across the globe. So they are capable to control, they are capable to link them through transportation and telecommunication system, which made them more efficient in terms of management of these production units, as well as if they are going to expand them, they are capable to do that as well. Then the export, production and processing zones were also established by different kind of countries, because the countries, specifically the developing countries, they want to make sure that their companies, their industry need to grow. So they are offering different kind of leverages, different kind of concessions to the domestic industries, and wherever domestic industry have some short of capital, they are inducing the foreign direct investment or transnational multinational corporations to get the same leverages. Therefore, different kind of export, production and processing zones were established, and this also leads towards some subcontracting. Subcontracting means that if the major component or major machine is going to be produced by the core nation or the core country, just like preparing a whole vehicle, then some part of that vehicle is not going to be prepared by the same company, that is going to be subcontracted to some other firm which belongs to some developing country. So just like for a car or vehicle, if tires are not going to be prepared in the core nation, that may be prepared in some developing countries of some firm of the developing countries, that can be some subcontracted to that country, and therefore that is going to be produced in bulk in developing countries and then come to the core nation, where that is going to be assembled in the whole in that particular product. So this actually whenever we observe the historical perspective, their contribution remained marginal. It was not significant, because actually that was expected that it will lead towards significant contribution to the development of the developing countries. That was not happen actually. So the developing countries remain poor in terms of their managerial skill, even so, or manufacturing capabilities. Therefore, the indigenous manufacturing contribution was not so much high.